Scott, it's obviously been a difficult past few days for the club. How did we get to this position?
Well, it was a difficult beginning of the season. Liam, it was, with the pandemic, we were obviously late in starting in October, and we were later probably with our pre-season because for financial reasons, and we were trying to be prudent and plan ahead. We started our pre-season later. A lot of injuries at the beginning of the season, but that's to be expected when you have a short pre-season programme. So just part and parcel of football. Pretty horrendous winter we've had. We had a lot of away games off in the first instance. I think starting with Raith Rovers with the COVID situation that they had. And then, as I say, we had some incredibly low temperatures in Inverness that neither heating nor covers would make any difference to. The tolerance for them is about -4, -5, and I think a couple of nights, quite a few, -11, -12, and you get a situation where the frost gets in the ground, it becomes almost like a permafrost, and it's tricky. But everyone was handling everything pretty well. We lost Scot Kelleher to a medical issue, which wasn't related to the pandemic, but it was serious, and it was very worrying for Scott and his family and everyone here, who we all count Scott's family. But he was, he's now recuperating and recovering from that, but it'll take him quite a while because he was hit pretty hard. But thankfully, he's getting better now. John just had, the most awful time recently with multiple things kind of piling up, and which were all out with his control, but would have put a greater strain on a lesser man, somebody who wasn't as strong as John, someone who wasn't as positive as John, and we had a very difficult situation to deal with, particularly in the last week or so. So it was only right the club looked at the position with regards to giving John compassionate leave, and John and I probably discussed that since last Wednesday. On Thursday and Friday, and we spoke about what would that look like, how could that happen, especially because Scott Kelleher's not here, and the amount of games that we had piling up. But ultimately, John's health and well-being were more important to us. It's important for John and Sally and all of his extended family that he's fit and healthy. And as I say, lesser men would have been laid low by what he was facing. So John and I had a discussion on Saturday night about what we would have to do and how we could address it while John was taking some time and space. And although it wasn't going to be easy, that kind of led us to getting the game out of the way. A phenomenal performance, tremendous effort by John Robertson, going above and beyond to be there on Saturday of all days, considering what was happening elsewhere in his extended family. And so the situation is that we agreed that with John. Everything was sort of planned as best as it could be, but then we would have a situation about what we're going to do next.
And then obviously last night it was announced that Neil McCann would be the interim manager while John's on compassionate leave. When was the first time you spoke to Neil?
Well, on Saturday night, I said to John, we spoke to the board during the day on Saturday. I spoke to the chairman pre-match before United, and I said, this is what we're going to have to do. This was my thoughts on it, and I said to the chairman on Saturday, said about 20 to 3, I think Neil McCann would be fantastic. I had a list of 4 names, but Neil was number 1, and for a number of reasons. But it wasn't just straightforward. If a manager and an assistant manager leaves you because they're headhunted by another club, Then you get your contact book out and you get applications in any case. Scott and John are not leaving us, and 100% are not leaving us. And so this was a difficult situation that I had not encountered before, because you needed a good man, an experienced man, who had a reason to take the job, such as the job is, because it could be, as we said the other day, a few weeks, a few months, we don't know. We needed someone who could do that, who could drop everything in their life, who could move to Inverness for we don't know how long, live we don't know where, because we don't have a stack of houses sitting that we can just pop people into. And we also have a situation where it had to be somebody that John could trust and communicate with in relation to going forward. I didn't want to add any additional angst to the situation by putting in someone who John thought they're there to get my job, or Kel thought that, because it's not the case. So it wasn't as straightforward as it would normally be. So that really narrows the window, and even then, you don't know if someone would be able to do it practically at all, because how can you do that? So I phoned Neil. We were COVID testing on Sunday morning. I spoke to John. Last thing he said when he was leaving here was good luck with Neil. And I had a board meeting Sunday lunchtime, and then I called Neil directly. I've known Neil since 1999, back at another club, and we've been in touch and done various different things across the year since then. So I called Neil just when he was going on air to cover the Rangers Dundee United game. His first thoughts were for John. We spoke again late on Sunday night, and then we had some discussions on Monday night, and we were trying to say how could it be done, how could he do it, and he was adamant that he wouldn't do it, or he wouldn't consider it unless he met John or spoke to John, and that wasn't necessarily practical. But I thought it was tremendously honourable and decent. The board were 100% behind the efforts to get Neil, and they knew each call I would phone after I spoke to Neil. I'd then phone all the board and say this is where we're at, and we had the pressure on, and then we had the added pressure of COVID because Neil couldn't be here unless he was, or couldn't take part in the Hearts game, even if he agreed. If we didn't get him COVID tested and get a negative test back by today. So we had to arrange for Neil to, on his way here tomorrow, when he wasn't necessarily for sure going to take the position, we had to get someone to go and meet him in a location to COVID test him, in order to get that test over to the lab in Glasgow in time for us to get a negative test today, which would allow him to come in today and actually do that. So he got a long conversation with John yesterday on the phone, and I left him to it. And Neil said it depends what John says here whether I'm going to do this. But happily after the call he said, no, John's given me his blessing and said he wants me to do it, and told him all about the players, and so we're very pleased and full of gratitude for Neil to be able to do what he's doing, and also to the BBC and Sky and Rangers for allowing him to step away for a little while to help John, to help his friend, his former teammate, and Inverness Cali Thistle. We have massive gratitude for him doing it. It's a huge favour for us, but he's a very serious man, a very serious football manager with a tremendous knowledge, and he's been in since the crack of dawn this morning and met everyone and given them his thoughts, and so I'm looking forward to seeing how it works out for him.
I'm just now looking forward. What's going to happen at the club now?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. As much as I had huge concern and compassion for Scot and John, I have responsibilities to the board, responsibilities to the supporters, to the players, to make sure that the club can go on and the business can keep flourishing, because we're working hard on a lot of different things. It's very difficult. So that has to carry on, and the appointment of Neil so quickly helps me to try and then turn around and face all of the things we're working on, some of which are very, very exciting, that we're hoping to announce in a matter of weeks. And we have a AGM that we have to call in the next day or so. We're just waiting on our auditors with the final numbers, and that is a huge improvement on our position just over 12 months ago. So we've got lots of work to do, but I am relieved and gratified to get Neil in. I'm not pleased, because we find ourselves in just very difficult circumstances. I'm just happy he's here and that he's going to step in and step up for us, and it allows us to go into the game with the support that the players need, and Barry and Ryan Essen needs of a top man who's won everything in the game in Scotland, and who still has a fantastic hunger, but the main reason is he wants to help his friend, and ultimately Inverness Cali Thistle. So it's good, and when we've got a lot to look forward to, and we just have to at the moment temper that, because we've got to get our two main men back in Scot and John.
Scott, thank you very much. Cheers.
No problem, thank you.